Say. Okay, so we're in the sugya of, David said it, ovens. Beautiful. Okay, we left off. This is a very, very important sugya. Okay, I didn't want to go through it very quickly. And again, I'm getting a few emails from people like, but did you mean this? And what about this? We are not learning Basar B'Chalav here, right? Levi Yitzchak will attest. It takes a little bit longer than 4 shiurim to go through Basar B'Chalav, right? I can spend an entire year on this. I'm just giving you what we call the Rashi Prokim. I'm giving you a little bit of the surface just to get you your appetite. Sometimes you have like you go to one of these fancy restaurants, they give you like a, you know what I'm talking about, but theoretically, if you went to a fancy restaurant, you have like a, you know what I'm talking about? They give it. The one that's opening up tonight, absolutely. We can advertise it. Actually, we could charge him for the advertising. Anyway, so you give you like a little appetizer. What does an appetizer do? It wets your appetite, gets you, the juices start flowing, gets geschmack. So I'm giving you a little bit of a wet appetite, so you're going to say, we want to learn Basar B'Chalav, that's it, right? I want to know all the answers, I want to know what to do. Moyodik. So I could put in myself like this. When it comes to ovens, okay, as we mentioned last time, Mishnah, Machshirim, a Rosh, a Bach, steam, Zeya, all of these things. Halacha l'maisa. Let's go straight to halacha l'maisa. We'll leave out the lomdus. We paskin in this base medrash that zeya is only zeya, steam is only steam, and new base medrash also is when it's in a concentrated place. Now, an oven is not considered to be a concentrated place. There's a vent there. I'm not going into lomdus right now, which means that most of our ovens do not have a shiloh of zeya, which basically means that we can be more makel than we thought we can. Now, that does not mean I can have one oven and cook meat and milk one after the other, obviously not. But it means that, for example, let's just get a few cases, and again, I'm skipping all the lomdus and all the makoyos. If I cook, I'm going to go to the extreme. A container of meat and a container of milk. Covered, totally covered. Not sealed, but covered in a way that nothing's coming out. In the same oven, theoretically that will be okay. Now, we don't do that, but theoretically it would be okay. Why would that be okay? Because the steam is not coming up. So if there's no problem. Either cooking in the same oven, who cares? They're both covered. Even theoretically, if one of them was covered and one of them was not covered, it would basically be okay. Because the steam is not going from one to the other. Again, we don't do this. But theoretically it would be okay. I'm giving you an example on an extreme level so you'll understand. What does that mean to say? I'll give you an example. What happens if a person has one oven? It's a milchika oven. Pick today he wants to cook meat. Or maybe faket. He's got a fleishika oven. Pick today he wants to cook milk. What does he do? So burning it out, whatever. I haven't got time, I can't bother. Very simple. Cover the item. You cover the item, it doesn't have to be sealed tight, airtight. As long as you've covered it well enough that the steam is not coming out of it, no problem. That means if I have a fleishika oven, and right now I need to make a cheesecake, and I cover it, no problem. I could do that. Again, I wouldn't suggest this on a constant basis because it's not a good idea for people to do this because sometimes you lift up the cover while it's cooking and all of a sudden the steam will come out, you've got all sorts of problems. Right? But l'maisa, that would be the way of doing it. The best way to do it is to kasher it. How do you kasher an oven? Again, skipping all the details, is you clean it, not Pesach cleaning it, but just give it a wipe. And it always depends on if it's a Bochum's oven, a Bochum's dira, or a house oven. There's a major difference between them, obviously, right? A Bochum's oven, you can still see what they ate last week over there on the side, dripping down, right? A regular house oven basically looks clean all the time. So you give it a bit of a wipe to make sure there's no condensation or anything that, oil or greasiness. And then you put it on the highest temperature, or at least the highest temperature that it was on previously. Everyone always asks, for how long? I have no idea. So why did I write in the book 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it was? Because you want to get it to its highest temperature, or to the temperature, reach that temperature, and then go for a few more minutes. Okay? Now, we don't generally kasher things from one to the other. Morgan Avraham says that in Orachaim Simon Tofnan Aleph, is we don't kasher things from one to the other. But over here, one-time thing for Shavuos, a person can be makel. So for example, a person has a fleishik oven and he wants to make challahs. And those challahs are going to be eaten with cheese. So you kasher the oven first by burning it out and cleaning it, as we said. And this way, I can now make the challahs and they're totally parav. The truth of the matter is, many times if you make challahs even in a fleishik oven, you can still eat them with cheese, especially if the oven is basically clean and has not been used for 24 hours, there's a mokum to be makel there also, because there's no real zeya in an oven, because the zeya, as we said, gets burnt up, and it's not in a concentrated area, and therefore that's why it can be makel. Okay, am I making sense? Somewhat? I'm going very quickly, you understand? I can give one whole shit, 45 minutes just on ovens. Just giving you the ideas of what's going on. Okay, Rabbi said we have to move on. There's a lot to discuss. What I want to do today, and we're going to have to, I guess, continue, is start now the Durabonons. Okay? There are many Durabonons, and this is most negaya for Shavuos, because on Shavuos we have Minhagim, which, as I said, we're not discussed any of the Minhagim yet. Next week in Mitzvah Hashem, we will discuss the Minhagim before Shavuos. We'll get into the Inyan. But We know that at some point during Shavuos you're going to eat milchik. Some people have a milchik suda, some people have kiddush, some people have kiddush in the morning, some people have kiddush before the suda of the fleishiks, whatever it is. People get involved with milchiks and fleishiks a lot more on Yom Tov of Shavuos than any other Yom Tov, obviously, kemuvan. First of all, why are there so many durabonans? There are so many durabonans, and there are loads, as we'll see. So I asked this question to Hagoyna Godel Rabbi Zil Orbach Shlita. We have to be zeichet to go there, Be'ez Hashem. Keep reminding me. We've got to get there. So I asked him, I said, Rebbe, why are there so many durabonans? Pshat. He said to me, very simple. He said the Torah saw Chazal saw that the Torah wrote so many psukim of one Issa. When Chazal saw that, they said this must be dangerous. It's almost like when you go to a building site, the more signs you see that something is dangerous, the more dangerous it probably is, right? Because there's more signs. So if Chazal saw that not once, not twice, 3 times in the Torah, where every word is precious, every letter is precious. Therefore Chazal said, we got to be careful of it. Especially as we know, as we explained in the beginning, there's a timtum alev. When you eat something that's not 100% kosher, and you go to a restaurant because there's Hebrew letters on the outside, and there's a fellow inside that has a beard, therefore it must be kosher because everyone eats there, Shem Yirachim, there's a timtum halev. And when the guy can't concentrate in Shemona Esra and doesn't enjoy a Tosfos and says Gemara is not for me, we wonder why. But we don't have to wonder why, it's pretty obvious. The Chinuch told us already that your physical body responds to what you eat in a spiritual manner. We'll leave that for a different subject, but not for now. So Al Kaponim Rabbi said, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about some of the Durabonons that are Nagea to us. I believe that many of these are Nagea to us many times on a daily basis, okay? Because these are very, very important things. There are many, many different shalis that come up all the time. So, okay, how are we going to start? Let's begin this way. Let's talk about, we'll start with one halacha, and on Sunday, Be'ez Hashem, we'll talk about the next sugya, which is incredible. We'll talk about this. There's a halacha. There's a Mishnah in Masechtas Cholin, where the Mishnah tells us that if you have a table, are you allowed to put meat and milk on the same table? Right? Now, the Mishnah tells us if you have 2 people sitting on the table, you're not allowed. Right? What's the reason? The Rishonim explain very simple. In the olden days, even in nowadays sometimes, but in the olden days specifically, and we know this from Pesach, how did they eat? They ate al yedei tibul, through dipping. Haraya, one of the questions on the famous Manishtana is why do we normally dip once and this, tonight we dip. What does that mean? We normally dip once? Who normally dips once? So we don't generally dip these days, but in those days they used to dip everything. Everything was dipped. And therefore the problem is, like they say to Rishonim, what type of gzeira is this? Where's the daraisa? What's a gzeira? A gzeira means don't do this, you're going to get to that, right? That's what gzeira means. What's a gzeira? If I'm eating a shawarma on the table and you rock up with a slice of pizza, you're not allowed to sit on the table. Huh? Where could there be Basar B'Chalav over here? Where's the shaila of a daraisa? Gzeira means don't come to a daraisa. Where's the daraisa? So the Rishonim, the Ritva, and others explain pshat. What does it mean? It means that. Where am I? It means that alidei tibul. They used to do things through dipping, and since people would bring a pot of hot bubbling cheese or cream sauce, a guy would have a schnitzel and say, "Ooh, that looks good." Dip that in a couple of times and eat it. You got shaila of a Basar B'Chalav. Okay, so nowadays maybe we don't dip so much, but we still have a shaila of I might come and eat some of your, wet fries which have cream sauce on them, and therefore I'm eating a schnitzel, I'm eating a shawarma, and therefore I might come to eat some of the cheese. Okay, and we'll discuss Be'ez Hashem the waiting. That's going to be the exciting part. Waiting between meat and milk, waiting between milk and meat. 6 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, 35 seconds. We'll talk about all the shitas Be'ez Hashem. There is a shita, don't worry. 35, 15, depends on how long, whatever. Okay, we'll see how long you take to say the words. We'll get to that. And then we'll talk about, obviously, hard cheese, which hard cheese, if it exists, we'll talk about that also. But that's the idea, which basically means there's a gzeira, is an issa for a person, if you're eating meat on a table, for a person eating cheese on the same table, okay? It's very negea. Guys go out, you go get something, you want a shawarma, he wants a pizza, you're on the same table, you're not allowed. It's an issa d'Rabban, you're not allowed. Zay paskin the Shulchan Aruch and Yeridei Simon, peches, very good. Now, therefore, when does the gzeira apply? When does it apply? When does it happen? So the Gemara tells us, which paskin the Shulchan Aruch, there are a few conditions. Number 1, only a table that you are eating on. A table you're not eating on is fine. So for example, if you went shopping and you went to buy chicken, meat, cottage cheese, and yogurts, so you can come to the kitchen counter and start emptying the bag. You're putting meat and cheese on the same counter, it's not a problem. Why? Because no one's eating on the table. Only a table that people are eating from, then we are worried. That's number one. Another thing, as well, the Shach brings this down to cotton base and peches, that only in a situation where both of them are kosher. If one of them is treif, there's no issa. So for example, if you're sitting in the airport and the guy next to you is having a McDonald's cheeseburger, there's no issa. Even if I'm eating cheese, well, he's also eating cheese theoretically. But let's say it would just be, I don't know, KFC. He's eating a piece of chicken, whatever it is, one of those fat, big buckets. As a bucket like this, he sits down to be kovei suda, right? With a sazach, right? He's sitting next to you, and you got your little, white bread. Maybe whole wheat if you're whole meat if you're feeling like very healthy, and you got your cheese sandwich over there, and he's sitting next to you like, hold on a second, meat, milk, what's going on over there? The answer is, I'm not going to eat from his thing, and there's no problem. And the third thing is, only if you know him. If you don't know him, he's not your friend, you're not going to come to eat from him, therefore there is no problem whatsoever in that case. I was Basar B'Chalav one time, and I asked Rebbe, I have a shaila. What happens if you have two bochum sitting on a bench? They went to the park to eat. This guy's eating a shawarma, this guy's eating a slice of pizza, right? There's no table. They're sitting on the same bench. Mutter or asa? No, we're Zoidim Taina.
Sometimes I'll put it down on the bench.
Okay, so if you're using it as a table, we're not talking about. I'm holding it. Everyone's holding it. There's no space on the bench. What? It's mutter, why? Oh, when you're sitting on a table, you are? The dinner of a table.
You're holding it the whole time.
Holding it the whole time?
You're not going to come to me.
Wait, 1 second. Once Chazal said Xavier, you can't come along and say, I'm not going to come to this. Because you can say that on the table also. Here, you'll sit right here. You'll sit there. He'll sit there. It's okay. Guys, don't touch each other. Beautiful.
It's further away. It's more separate.
So Chakes can answer me poshet. There's no table. Chazal made Xavier with shulchan. As I state Mishnah. Chunin, Kuf Zayin. There's no shulchan, there's no table. You can't back up your own Xaviers. Finished, end. Boom, mutter. Next Rabbi say. That Rabbi Kiva Eger comes along with the Gavaldik Gazach. Kiva Eger says, you guys thought you got away today without doing Ian Abyssal. Rabbi Kiva Eger, no? Kiva Eger comes along and says, what about a shema? What if you have a shema? You ask someone to remind you. So the Kiva Eger writes that it's not going to help you because the shema has to be constantly looking the whole time. Unless maybe one of them is the shomer, that's a different shayla. One of the heterim we have is, what's the big heter over here? Who knows a big heter of eating on the same table, one meat, one milk? Oh, excellent. You put a heka. You put a heka down. What's the pshat? If you put a heka down in between, so now I know there's something unusual there that's not normally there. This could be negeh, right? You have many people that, for example, their parents make a milchik sud on Shavuos, right? And you always hear the kids are like, you see? Oh, no, I can't eat milchiks. It's Yontov, Fleisch, Basar B'Chalav, steht, Dogim. And therefore, if that's the case, ich like Fleisch, wie ist der Fleisch? So, okay, good mother, a good Jewish mother will say, Yankele, no problem, I'll make you some Fleisch. I'll make you Fleisch, it won't even be chewy, it will be gewaltig. Okay? And you will sit on your section of the table while the rest of the family will have their cheese blintzes. You will be eating your steak. Okay? Now the problem is you've got to have a heka. What's the yisod of the heka? The heka shows that one is not going to come from the other. So what is a heka? Anything we'll take questions maybe afterwards because I want to get through the inyonim. Number one, anything that's not normally there. I asked for Sheinberg Zatzal. We went down to a shiva, we asked him a shaila. Are you allowed to use a sefer as a heka? She said to me, I understand, which table doesn't have a sefer on it? Like, it's anyway got a sefer on it, so like it's not unusual. Okay, you like that one? I wrote to Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky the same shaila. So he wrote me back, I have that at home, he wrote me back saying, it's a bezoyan to Kisvei Kodesh. To use a sefer for your own personal usage to do something. So I asked Rishon because it's a bezoyan. If I would do it, he said, no, forget it. I'm using it for mitzvah, I'm using it as a heka, it's kavaldik, it's beautiful, and therefore, there's no problem with that whatsoever, as a heka. I'll give you another example. What about something that no one's going to come to drink from? Okay? I'll give you an example. I love doing this, by the way. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a dafkenik. I never figured it out yet. I have people over there. Something's like brisker bochum. It's the best. And then take the baby bottle with real milk inside it. Yeah, real chalavi milk inside it. And I will put it down on the table. And you'll hear all of a sudden, but they're all embarrassed to say something because they don't really know if it's mutter or asa, right? They just assume that it's asa, right? Now, how many of them opened up a shulchan aruch and Yehuday is someone peiches? You know what I mean? Al kaponim. So I say it's mutter. Why is it mutter? I asked this after Struv Shaimek just to make sure, but Avada, who's going to eat from that? Someone's going to drink from that? There's a Xavier going to come to drink from a baby bottle? I once had it. A Shiva Bacha did it one time on Purim Suda. True, it happened one time. In the middle of the Purim Suda, a Bacha took the baby bottle and started drinking it. All right, let's say that. It happens. But it was a Purim Suda. Okay, versteht sich. But in a regular situation, these things don't happen, and there is generally no problem with that. Okay, I asked Rob Chaim, can I ask you another shayla, by the way? So what happens if you're sitting on an aeroplane? Now, I don't know exactly how you guys fly, but when I fly, generally you're sitting like mamash, figuring out where to put your elbows, you know? So sitting at Zoi, again, that's how I fly, whatever. You put your elbows at Zoi. The guy next to you is having a cheese sandwich. You're eating your fleischiger, gewaldige, beautiful plain meal. Ah, beautiful. You're tucking away over there with the Chinese chicken, whatever they're giving, and he's eating a cheese sandwich, right? Is that mutter or not? It's mutter?
Separate tables.
Separate tables, even though a mamish, you can mamish. No, you don't know the guy next to you, sitting next to you. No, you have to get to know. You can be makar of him. You can tell him. You get all sorts of stories come out from the airplane. We know already, right? Can't just ignore the guy. Okay. Anyway. Okay, Rabbi say. So that's pretty much the halachos over here that I wanted to say. Tomorrow, Sunday, Be'ezus Hashem, I want to go through the last sugya of this series, and that is I'm going to go through the drabbanons of waiting 6 hours. Where does it come from? When we can be makel, and also waiting after cheese, hard cheese, and all these things. And b'siyat Shmaya, we will continue then. All right, Rabbi say. Have a wonderful day.